The eclipse did not end on September 7th. It opened a corridor, and you are already inside it. The climax of the blood moon, with its intensity and its verdicts, was the opening of the gate, not the final destination. The energy of such a powerful event does not dissipate in one night. It reverberates, echoes, and continues to work on us in the days and weeks that follow. If the 7th was about the cut and the revelation, today, September 8th, is about the silence that comes after. It is in this silence that the deepest work of integration happens. What remained after the storm? What clarity emerged from the dissolution? And most importantly, what do we do with the space that has been created? We are now navigating a special and potent time, known as the eclipse corridor. This is the period between yesterday's lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse that will arrive on September 21st. Think of this as a sacred vacuum, a bridge between an ending and a new beginning. It is a time to assimilate the revelations, to get used to the new emotional landscape, and to observe the signs that the universe continues to send, now with more subtlety. To rush to fill the void now would be a waste of the most precious opportunity this period offers, the opportunity to listen. The energy has changed. The drama has given way to serenity, but a firm serenity. The task now is to be the patient architect of your new ground. It is to understand that the void is also a building material. Let us together explore this corridor. Let us learn to read the echoes of the eclipse, to integrate its lessons in body and soul, and to prepare ourselves for the new cycle that awaits us on the other side. The journey has not ended. It has simply changed its nature. A cosmic event of the magnitude of yesterday's eclipse can be compared to the sound of a monumental bell being struck in the center of the universe. September 7th was the moment of the strike, the instant of the sonic impact, with all its intensity, its drama, and its finality. But the power of a bell lies not just in its initial strike. It resides, perhaps even more profoundly, in the echo that follows. What we are living today is the echo of the eclipse. It is the long and resonant vibration that continues to move through us and our lives long after the main sound has ceased. It is in this vibrant silence, in this quietude, full of meaning, that the true message of the eclipse can be heard and integrated. Yesterday's revelation was the event. Today's clarity is the process. The main function of this echo is to deepen the clarity. The truths that emerged yesterday may have been shocking, emotional, or even confusing in their intensity. Today, in the calm of the following day, the implications of these truths begin to settle. The dust settles, and the new landscape becomes visible with impressive sharpness. For example, yesterday, you may have had the sudden revelation that a professional path had to end. That was the shock, the impact. Today, in the echo, you begin to feel not the pain of the loss, but the relief of the burden. You begin to see the space that has opened up, the new possibilities that were previously invisible. The echo does not repeat the drama. It reveals the purpose behind the drama. It transforms the question, "What happened?" into the serene understanding of, "This is why it happened." This reverberation is felt very clearly in our body. Remember the pre-eclipse symptoms: the weight on the chest, the pressure in the throat, the restless sleep. Today's echo brings the opposite. You may wake up feeling physically lighter, as if a weight has literally been removed from your shoulders. Your breathing may seem deeper, easier. Where there was tension, there may now be a relaxation you haven't felt in a long time. Your sleep may have been deep and restorative. These are not coincidences. They are your physical body confirming that an immense energetic charge has been released. It is the physiological proof that the closure was real and successful. This physical relief is the most honest echo of the eclipse, the confirmation that your courage to face yesterday's truth is already generating healing in your body today. This echo also manifests in our environment. Observe the stillness. Perhaps the phone, which wouldn't stop ringing with matters related to the cycle that ended, is silent today. The source of drama that consumed your attention may have fallen quiet. There is a palpable peace in the air. This external silence is the universe's way of giving us the necessary space for integration. It is an invitation for you not to rush, to fill the void with new noises, new distractions. The echo of the eclipse asks us to listen to our own thoughts, now clearer, to listen to the needs of our body, now lighter, to listen to the voice of our intuition, which now speaks in a more serene and confident tone. The vibration is still present, but now it is a melody of clarity, not an alarm of urgency. The echo of yesterday's eclipse introduces us to a new territory, a very particular and potent space-time. The lunar eclipse was not an isolated event. It was the entry gate to what astrologers call the eclipse corridor, a 2-week period that extends from yesterday's eclipsed full moon on September 7th until the solar eclipse that will occur on September 21st. It is crucial that you understand the nature of this period, as the energetic rules within it are different. Being aware of this corridor is what will allow you to navigate the next 2 weeks with wisdom instead of haste. It is a time when destiny becomes more malleable, and our conscious attention becomes the most important tool we possess. Think of the metaphor of a corridor. A corridor is neither a starting point nor a final destination. It is a space of transition. It is what connects a room we have just left behind, the past which the eclipse ended, to a new room we have not yet entered, our potential future. The energy of a corridor is between worlds. The past no longer exists in the same way, but the future has not yet solidified. It is an energetic vacuum, a sacred limbo. During this period, the veil between the conscious and the subconscious remains extremely thin. Our intuition is at its peak, but so is our emotional vulnerability. We are more porous, more sensitive. We may find ourselves absorbing the emotions of others more easily, or being more affected by news and the environment. The decisions and actions taken within this corridor tend to have a greater karmic weight and faster, more lasting consequences as we are operating in a field of pure potential. It is for this reason that the most important directive for the next 2 weeks is that of strategic patience. After an event as conclusive as yesterday's eclipse, our human tendency may be to rush the reconstruction. We want to fill the space that was left empty, to start something new immediately, to cover the discomfort of the vacuum with action. But the wisdom of this period asks for the opposite. It is not the time to rebuild everything in a hurry. It is time to listen to the signs. Imagine that the eclipse was a controlled demolition of a part of your life. A good architect does not start building a new edifice the next day on top of the rubble and unstable ground. First, they clear the terrain, study the new landscape that has been revealed, analyze the quality of the soil, and only then do they begin to draw the new blueprint. To build on ground that is still settling is to guarantee that the new structure will have fissures in the future. It is to waste energy and resources. This 2-week corridor is your period of study and design. Therefore, the real work of this corridor is not of external action, but of internal observation and data collection. What does listening to the signs mean now? The signs that arrive in this period are different from the pre-eclipse signs. Those were warnings of an end. The signs that arrive now are clues about the new beginning, the conversations you have, the themes that repeat, the ideas that emerge, a book that falls from the shelf, a sudden urge to learn a new skill. All of these are the raw materials for the next chapter of your life. Keep your journal nearby. Take notes. Observe the patterns that emerge. The information you collect in these 2 weeks will be the foundation for the intention you will plant at the solar eclipse on the 21st, which is the perfect astrological moment for new beginnings. Use this corridor not to run, but to walk slowly, with your eyes and heart wide open, knowing that every observation is a brick for your new and more solid reality. The work of an eclipse does not end with its passage through the sky. Its true power is revealed in what it leaves behind, in the new quality of energy that settles in when the dust settles. Integration is not a passive process. It is an act of conscious observation, of recognizing the subtle yet profound changes that occur within us and around us. The proof of a successful release lies not in the magnitude of what was removed, but in the serenity and lightness of what has remained. In the days following the eclipse, your task is to become an expert in your own internal and external landscape, noticing how the energy that was once spent sustaining the unsustainable now manifests as a new vitality. This integration can be observed most clearly in 3 fundamental areas: your body, your emotions, and your practical life. The first area, and the most honest, is the body. Remember the pre-eclipse symptoms, the possible feeling of weight on your chest, the lump in your throat, the restless sleep full of processing dreams. Your body was the barometer that measured the storm's approach. Now, in the echo of the eclipse, it becomes the meter of the calm. Observe your breathing. You may notice that it is deeper, easier, that your chest feels more open and spacious. Where there was once a sense of constriction, there is now one of expansion. Pay attention to your sleep. It may become incredibly deep and restorative, the kind of sleep that leaves you genuinely refreshed in the morning. This is your nervous system's response to the end of a long, energetic battle. Your body no longer needs to spend its precious life forced to contain repressed emotions or to remain in a state of alert. The energy that was used to manage the internal conflict is now free, and it manifests as a new lightness, a renewed vitality. This physical well-being is not a coincidence. It is the most tangible proof that a deep healing has occurred. The second area of integration is the field of emotions. If the pre-eclipse period was marked by an emotional fog, confusion, irritability, heightened feelings, the post-eclipse brings what we can call a serene clarity. What is remarkable about this clarity is its simplicity. It is not a loud epiphany or a moment of euphoria. It is a stillness. It is the feeling of looking at a situation that, a week ago, seemed like a knot of emotional complexity, and now seeing it with a disarming simplicity. Doubt has been replaced by a silent knowing. The questions that tormented you have simply lost their emotional charge and, as a result, their importance. The eclipse worked like a great filter, which separated emotional truth from projection, fear, and fantasy. The fog that has dissipated was the energy of illusion. What remains is the truth, and the truth, even when it is hard, is energetically simple and therefore brings immense peace. This effortless emotional clarity is your new baseline state. Do not question it, just enjoy it. Finally, this new internal coherence begins to be reflected in your practical life. The chaos and glitches that may have been happening before the eclipse give way to a new flow of synchronicity and resolution. It is here that you begin to see the external confirmations of the endings, Conversations that were once difficult and circular now reach a natural and peaceful conclusion. Messages and papers continue to arrive, not as warnings, but as confirmations that the processes have, in fact, been finalized, as we saw in the previous chapter. Projects that were blocked may suddenly find a new path or an unexpected solution now that the energetic obstacle has been removed. The difference is subtle but powerful. Where there was once friction, now there is flow. Where there was once struggle, now there is ease. Your external world begins to reorganize itself to mirror your new internal order. By observing this new harmony in your practical life, you are witnessing the direct consequence of the work of release that the eclipse facilitated. Your body, your emotions, and your circumstances are all telling the same story. A great weight has been lifted, and now you are free to move. After the acceptance of what is gone and the integration of the new lightness that has settled in your body and soul, you now enter the most sacred and, for many, the most challenging space of the eclipse corridor, the void. The eclipse, in its function of closure, did not just remove what was superfluous. It created space. Where there was once a relationship that consumed your attention, there is now silence. Where there was a project that occupied your hours, there is now free time. Where there was a pattern of constant worry, there is now a mental stillness. Our society and our human programming have a deep dread of the void. We associate it with loneliness, with failure, with a lack of purpose. Our immediate, almost instinctive tendency is to fill this space as quickly as possible with anything. A new noise, a new distraction, a new person, a new problem, just to avoid facing the silence of what remains. And this is, without a doubt, the biggest trap of this entire period. To rush to fill the void now is to dishonor all the work the eclipse has done for you. It would be the equivalent of undergoing delicate surgery to remove what was sick and the next day trying to run a marathon. The system needs time to heal, to recalibrate, and to get used to its new state of health. Immediately entering a new relationship after the end of an old one is often a recipe for repeating the same pattern with a different person. Diving headfirst into a new project to avoid the feeling of loss is a way of using productivity as an anesthetic. What your logical mind sees as a void to be corrected, your soul sees as a gestation space to be protected. To run to fill it is to interrupt the process at its most crucial moment. It is to plant any random seed in the fertile ground, instead of waiting to discover which seed your soul truly longs to cultivate. The wisdom of this eclipse corridor lies in your ability to sustain the discomfort of not knowing, to become friends with the silence. It is here that our perspective needs a revolution. You must understand the deepest truth of this moment. The void is also a building material. The void is not an absence. It is the raw material of creation. Think of an artist before a blank canvas. The empty canvas is not a problem. It is the necessary condition for the masterpiece to be born. Think of a composer creating a melody. Their genius lies not only in the notes they write, but in the silence they place between them. The silence gives shape to the music, gives it rhythm, gives it emotion. The void you feel now is your blank canvas, your musical silence. It is in this space, free from the noise of old obligations and old dramas, that you can finally hear your own inner voice with unprecedented clarity. It is in the void that your true need, your true desire, has the space to emerge. This void is, therefore, a womb. Something new is being gestated within it. Your only task is to protect this womb, to nurture this silence, and to trust that, in due time, what needs to be born will give its first sign. How is this done in practice? The first attitude is that of curiosity. Instead of fearing the void, explore it with curiosity. Sit in the silence for a few minutes and ask, what wants to emerge here? Do not expect an immediate, logical answer. Just cast the question and pay attention to the subtle signs in the following days. The second attitude is that of presence. When you feel the impulse to pick up your phone to fill a moment of boredom or to call someone just to avoid loneliness, stop, breathe, and consciously choose to stay with the feeling for a minute. Observe the discomfort without judgment. By doing this, you are training your ability to be with yourself, the greatest of all sources of power. Finally, use this time for small tests, not for big commitments. Explore a new hobby, read a book on a topic you've never considered, walk down a different street. See this as data collection, as a gentle exploration of what resonates with this new version of you. Honoring the void is the final act of trust in the eclipse process. It is your way of saying to the universe, I trust that the space that was created will be filled by something even better, and I am willing to wait. The journey through the climax of the eclipse ends, and the journey through its echo begins. Today you have learned to read the new landscape that has opened up. You understood that the echo of the event is a continuation of its message, that the corridor between the eclipses is a sacred space of transition, and that the signs of integration in your body and your life are the proof that the release was real. Above all, you were invited to look at the void not as an absence, but as the fertile space where your future is being sown in silence. Intensity has given way to introspection. Drama has given way to serene clarity. Your task in the next 2 weeks is not to do, but to be. Remember our final metaphor, which is your compass for this period. The eclipse closed the book. The chapter that begins now is written with your presence. The ink with which you will write this new chapter is not that of frantic action or rushed planning. It is the ink of your consciousness. It is the presence you dedicate to observing the signs that continue to arrive. It is the presence you dedicate to honoring your new state of lightness. It is the presence you dedicate to sustaining the creative void, trusting that it will reveal to you what you need to know at the right time. What you build now is not external. It is your capacity to be at peace with who you have become after the storm. This corridor is your time. Integration is your power. If you commit to walking through this period, not with the haste to reach the destination, but with the wisdom of one who appreciates the journey, anchor that intention. Like this video, share it with someone who is also navigating this space between worlds, and declare your commitment to using these 2 weeks with the highest consciousness in the comments. I walk consciously, and don't forget to subscribe so that we may be together on the other side of this passage. On September 21st, ready to plant the seeds of the new cycle under the energy of the solar eclipse. The journey continues.